I think you're going to have to just say, yes, you will accept the recording. A number of people wrote to say, because it's Martin Luther King Day, they would not be able to join and will we record. So welcome everybody. My name is Sarah Sless. I'm sitting in Jerusalem or just outside Jerusalem in my home in Suadasa. My pronouns are she and her. I am sort of blondish hair with wearing glasses and wish you all Chag Sameach, Tu B'Shvat, everybody. And welcome to our session of Bringing Israel to the JCC. It's a continuation of the series we started a couple of years ago, where we were trying to make available to our JCC professionals some amazing resources that are out there, that are easy to use, to access, the resources either being materials and libraries or people and programs. And today we have a bit of both. And welcome to our guests, Adina Canfield, who's coming to us from North America, and Shuvi Hoffman from Israel. And as we are a small group, I thought maybe we could just introduce ourselves. We'll do it popcorn style. So I am going to throw it over to Judy and invite Judy to introduce herself and say where you're from, and perhaps if there's anything you're curious about with regard to the National Library of Israel. So Judy, you start and then throw it popcorn to somebody else.
So I'm Judy Ben-Ami, and I am currently in Schenectady, New York. Snowy day for Tu B'Shvat. Happy holiday to everybody. My favorite holiday is today. And I'm interested to learn more about any activity that we can bring to our center. We don't have a lot of team programs or any kind of program for bat mitzvah, bar mitzvah. So this is really interesting to me. Larry?
Hi, I'm Larry Katz with the Jewish Alliance, combination JCC and Federation in Rhode Island. I've been impressed with some things I've seen at the National Library, so I'd like to see what we can bring back for use here. Let's see the next one. I see Shelley Prant.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shelley Prant. I'm in Albuquerque at the JCC. I am excited to hear what you have to offer to us today because I just hired a youth and family engagement director, and with an emphasis on Judaism and Israel, and she'll be working with shluchim, and so she would have been on the call too, but she's actually in Florida at the conference for new day camp professionals, excuse me. So thank you. And I'll send it on to Gon.
Thank you. My name is Gon. I'm from Buffalo, New York, and originally from Israel, as you probably can hear. I am in charge of Israel engagement in our JCC. I work with all group ages. I've only been in Buffalo for about 7 months. Came here from Youngstown, Ohio, where I've been to 6 years. Anything else that I need to add?
Just if there's anything you're curious about the National Library or question
I'm curious about any type of Israel engagement. I'm always looking for more ideas because for me it's an ongoing mission. So whatever is in today is great. And I don't know who can be. I'm probably number 3. So Deborah, I know you, so I'm going to pass it to you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Deborah Silverman. I am with the Mayerson JCC in Cincinnati. I oversee all of our children and family programs and all of our Israel programs. So just very excited to learn more and see how we can implement something like this in our city. I'm going to pass it to Stephanie.
Hi, everybody. My name is Stephanie Scheiman. I am living in Orlando, Florida. I just moved here about 6 months ago from Maryland. I'm the director of community engagement. So I do all for the Jewish Federation. And so I do all the things with PJ Library. And so I heard about this and I thought it would be great, a wonderful tie-in. There's many PJ Library books that discuss and talk about Israel. So I thought, how could I engage the community and learn more about the connection? So here I am. Thank you for having me. And I will pass along to, let's see, who haven't we heard from? Adina.
Adina's going to introduce herself in a moment. She's one of our presenters.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So I'm going to suggest Corey, perhaps you share with us.
I am Corey Sonagara, and I am in Greenwich, Connecticut, and I work for JCC, running the PJ Library and all things kids. So I was interested specifically for my middle school students, and I have a middle schooler myself, so I was curious, and perhaps more curious that way. So thanks so much. And I am home with my kids today, so I'm going to turn my video off. I apologize for that.
Leah?
Hi, good evening from Israel. Leah Garber from JCC Association, and anything and everything that is books related is something I'm passionate about. So very excited to be here.
Thank you. So I, as I mentioned earlier, this is an opportunity for us to get to know this treasure trove of the National Library of Israel, something I think that has been hidden from sight for too long. And I'm excited to have the opportunity to invite Adina and Shuvi to share with us a little overview of the library, and then we will be doing a deep dive into the Bar and Bat Mitzvah project as we know, and other things as well. So I'm going to turn off my mic and hand it over to Adina.
Great. Hello, everybody. I'm Adina Canefield. I'm the CEO of the National Library of Israel USA, which is the partner with the library in trying to grow the presence of the library here in America. And I think it's fair to say that thanks both to digitization and to the changes in our lives and our social norms of society, which have changed over the past 2 years. And I submit, and I think many of us believe that some of those things might be here to stay. The idea of virtually gathering it does have its pluses. You can meet with people from around the world all at the same time. And there's some beautiful things about that. And the library has seized on some of those opportunities that I want to share with you. And then, more importantly, the library is in a stage of very intentionally thinking about how it can serve as a resource for you, for leaders in the Jewish community, for educators in the Jewish community, for people on the ground that are looking for creative, interesting, unique material and programs that can help shape Jewish identity, Jewish knowledge seeking, Jewish understanding, understanding of people's, not just Jewish people, Christian people, Muslim people. The library is an incredible place. So I want to give you a very, very brief overview so you have the feel for what this library is, what is the National Library of Israel. And then I'm going to turn it, I'm going to just talk for 5-6 minutes, and then I'm going to turn it over to Shuvi, because she's going to give you a real solid taste of a program that is not only unique in and of itself, but is representative of the kinds of programs that are possible for you to enjoy, and that I think potentially can help you in your work as leaders and teachers and educators and conveners and engagers. So with that, let me just show you, how many of you have actually have heard of the National Library of Israel? Anyone? Okay. So let me just show you what it looks like, or will look like, in about less than a year from now, give you a feel for it, and then just share a couple words around it. So just bear with me while I share my screen. Okay, so this is the National Library of Israel, what it will look like when it's complete. And it's this, you know, a spectacular building. I feel like before I tell you what it can look like for you virtually, let's just take a look at the building itself. You'll see, and I'm sure all of you have been to Israel. It's right next to the Knesset, and the Israel Museum is on the left side, and the library is right here in the middle, just to give you a feel for what it looks like. Of course, the library, it's going to be this spectacular, you know, building, and it's going to serve a variety of different people. And this photograph really represents that. It truly is one of those unique places where you can go. And you can see in Israel, you know, Orthodox Jews sitting next to secular Israelis, both, you know, in the same room together. And it's a very, very unique place. Of course, what is a library? It's a place for books, and the books will be displayed in an incredible way. But the point is that the library is not just going to be, it's not just a place for books. 21st century libraries are really cultural destinations, and the library is adapting and changing. And the whole thinking around the library is, how do we make our books, our manuscripts, our music collections, all of our resources come to life? How do we create things that are ways to engage the community? So here you see some images of what, if you were in Israel, what you would enjoy. But what I really want to talk to you about today is, how can the library really serve you here in America? So I was thinking about it, and there really are sort of two main areas I want to leave you with, and I'll give you some taste of those, and Shuvi again will share more. There's sort of two main ways that we can help you. One is on a program level. There are incredible programs that exist at the library. They're virtual gatherings with various speakers, and I'll give you just a sense of what the speakers are like. And they are, these programs are actually free. We take our manuscripts, our collections, here you see some little samples of them, and we create programs that are inspired by these documents. So here's an example of some programs that are inspired by the collections, that are really open to your constituents. And we can talk about a variety of ways that you can do it. But basically, so here, just as an example, we might take our collection of Sir Isaac Newton's papers, and we create a program around that looks at contemporary issues today. So we came up with this idea of having a doctor, one of the world-renowned cancer doctors, and who's also on various task forces for COVID, Dr. David Agus. We had our curator, Stefan Litt, and we had Jack Lew, the former Treasury Secretary of the United States, and our board chair at NLI USA, came up with a program and said, okay, let's take our papers and say, what would Sir Isaac Newton, how would he deal with COVID-19? So that's just an example of some of the creative things that we're doing. Or the UAE and Bahrain and Morocco, as part of the Abraham Accords, the library signed one of the first cultural exchanges with the UAE, and we came up with a program around that. All of these programs are free. We have hundreds of people that gather. And what I was envisioning for you to think about, for your community engagement folks, is to think about, potentially, could you bring your JCC community to one of these events, and then have a discussion group that you led after the presentation? Something to think about, a way to use the materials and the programs that are already in existence. You can access these things on the site. This isn't at the end, and in the chat when Shuvi's talking, I'll give you links, but this is an example of some of the January programs that the library provided. So a Tu B'Shvat program, of course, was yesterday. We have a series on Christian-Jewish relations, and we have a Holocaust presentation, because it's International Holocaust Remembrance Day at the end of January. So this gives you a feel for sort of the adult cultural program. That's one angle that you could pursue. So taking a part of the already existing programs that the library has. A second way you can go is to actually engage with our speakers and have them come to you virtually for now, maybe eventually in person, and present. And here you see, this is just like a snapshot. This is a 3 or 4 page document. I just took a screenshot of some of the speakers that we have and the topics that they present on. So, you know, you have Jewish mysticism and Kabbalah, you have the content, what's a book, Jewish bookshelf, you have a really cool talk on magic in the Jewish realm. You have Shuvi, who's actually giving you a talk on how to access the treasures. And you have a variety of resources and fingertips for speakers to talk to you. So that's sort of the adult programming that's possible. Then, and Shuvi's going to talk to you in detail about, from an educator's point of view, both formal and informal, how the library can serve you. And that would be for educators as well as for families, and things and activities that parents can actually do on their own. So she's going to go over that. But the other area that I wanted to talk to you about, so I said the first way that we can help you potentially and serve, I should say serve you and your needs, is through program content, both delivering things that already exist and co-creating together as partner organizations. And the second way is we have incredible primary sources, gorgeous material that I submit should be part of your go-to resources for communications. You're doing a talk on Islam and Judaism. Go and look at our manuscripts and take a document. Tu B'Shvat is coming up. Look at the various photographs related to Tu B'Shvat that you could potentially put in your, your email to the community about the holiday. The other incredible thing that we do is, I know many of you send emails to your constituents. We have links to all kinds of material that could complement your holiday messages. So, for example, I know that I used to send emails to people if it were Passover, and I would try to write something creative, and I would provide a link, an educational link to all Haggadot from around the world. We create those links, we create those resources, make it easy for you, and you could use those and share those with your community members. They learn to use the library. They learn to know that they have a library that is theirs. And it just provides a different materials that I think otherwise, that they really aren't getting. So you would be serving the library in many ways as well. And then finally, for those of you that are fortunate enough to be planning trips to Israel for your community or partaking in them, you should know that the library is going to be the most beautiful place to visit in all of Israel, certainly the hottest new institution in Israel. And there are going to be a whole series of guided tours that will be available for the visitor's experience. So if you are planning through Federation, through the JCCs, whatever, this should be on your trip, your mission, and such. And then finally, for your personal learning, this is interesting stuff. To the extent any of you have downtime and can attend and enjoy and just be enriched, you should consider participating just for yourselves, just as leaders in the community. And with that, I give you to Shuvi, who is going to give you a deep dive into the materials.
Thank you, Adina. So I am Shuvi. I'm talking to you from Jerusalem. I work at the National Library here, and I manage the Global Jewish Education in the Education Department. What I would like to show to you today is, like we said, the Bar Bat Mitzvah program we've developed. Before we actually dive into that, I thought it would be fun to start with a little Kahoot. If you guys are up for it. What we're going to do is, again, I know that not everyone really is familiar with the library, but this is an opportunity for you to get a little glimpse into what the library holds. So if you guys want to sign up, you can use your devices, your phones, and we're going to wait for a couple of players. You don't have to sign up if you don't want to, or if you don't have a phone handy. You can also kind of try to answer the questions in the chat. I'll have you know that this is a Who Knows 10. This is a 10-question Kahoot. So challenge yourselves to see what you know about the treasures that we have in the library. And I'm going to wait for a couple of players and then we're going to get started. Great. Okay, so I'm going to start, and if there are people who join, I guess, as we go along, that's also okay. And great, I see that everyone's coming in, so that's great. And here we go. In 2016, yes, you would think it was many years ago, but it was just then. Good. Great. No one got this one right. Question number 5. Well done. Larry's in the lead here. This is an Italian manuscript of the Megillah of Esther. 3 more questions. Could you guess who this Hebrew notebook belonged to? And last question, true or false? So let's see who our winners are. Wow, Alana, that's pretty impressive. Wow. So thank you for playing, everyone. That was fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Just gives you a glimpse into what we have in the library. And even though Adina was talking about the books and where we need to put them, I don't know how many of you know, but we hold so many more treasures, manuscripts, photographs, recordings, music, and so many things in the library. So that really just gave you a glimpse into our materials. And with that, I would like to show you what we've been really working hard on lately. And this is really our new program. It's the Bar Bat Mitzvah program that you've all been waiting to see. So what we tried to do when we were thinking of this program is to take the opportunity, the milestone of becoming Bar and Bat Mitzvah, and take the kids who are celebrating this milestone on a journey that will be really meaningful to them, and explore different themes in Jewish identity and Jewish culture. I'm going to show you, this is a digital platform that we have. It's not yet accessible, but people who want to use it, I mean, it's not accessible yet online in our website, but people who get a guidance session and participate, I give them this link, and Sarah can share it with you. So we're going to look at these stations in a second. Okay, so here we have what we decided, 13 stations or 12 stations of Jewish culture, Jewish identity. And what we thought of an idea that we wanted the kids not to only learn about Jewish culture, we also wanted them to be active and take part in this process. So before we look at one of these chapters, just as an example, I want to show you the features of this program that we really thought of very carefully. There are two very special things in this program. One is a Canva scrapbook that we've created for the kids to use throughout the process of learning for their bar or bat mitzvah. And I'll show it to you in a moment. What it does is it enables the kids to document their process, their journey throughout their learning experience. And I'm going to show you what it looks like here. Basically, the kids receive this Canva template, and they can edit it once they open up the link. They don't get a link to be editors of my file, but rather they make it their own. They save it in their Canva account. And what they do is, throughout the program, when they have different activities, which you'll see soon in each chapter, we have usually 2 or 3 suggestions for activities. The kids can document and create those activities in this Canva. So this becomes, first of all, a souvenir, a memorabilia for them of their journey. They can share it with their family and their friends. And also, it shows them the importance of documentation, of really taking the process that they're going through now, which to them might seem, okay, why is it so important? Just a bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah kid in someplace, why is that significant to the Jewish people? And the message of this program throughout is that, yes, the experience they're going through now is a very, very significant part of the story of the Jewish people. And if it weren't for people who documented their experiences in previous generations, then we wouldn't have all the treasures we have today at the National Library of Israel. And you'll see soon that in the program, we have some old bar and bat mitzvah invitations. We have family photographs. We have all kinds of documents and interesting items that, again, if it weren't for people who preserved them and thought that was important, we wouldn't have them today. So basically, we encourage, and this is just a glimpse into some of the activities that appear throughout the program. We encourage the kids to, again, personalize this whole process, to save these items, these milestones, and share it with their family, with their community. This is something that's easily, of course, easily used in a family setting. It can be used in a community setting, in a group setting, one-on-one, with a tutor. It could really be used by many different kinds of educators in different settings. This could be an amazing experience for a grandparent to do with a grandchild. And as you can see, again, I'm just looking through the Canva just so that you get a sense of the kind of activities that we're offering the kids. So going back for a moment to the program itself, let's say if we think of the step in preparing for the bar or bat mitzvah, when it comes to sending out invitations, we take that opportunity to explore the issue of identity and community. So each chapter is usually around 5 or 6 pages. And in it, the way we built each chapter is that there's a little intro and a nice quote from traditional text. And then we dive into this specific topic or theme of Jewish identity and Jewish culture. So here, as an example, we have an invitation from the early 1900s from the United States, where, as you can see, it's a template for a bar mitzvah invitation. Of course, it says bar and not bat. And there are two flags here, the Israeli flag, the American flag. And we take this as an opportunity to raise the question and have a discussion with the kids, again, either on a one-on-one kind of setting or in a group setting. How would you feel if you had a template invitation? What do the flags symbolize? Now, what I want to stress throughout when I show you some of these chapters, and again, you're going to get the link to the main page, and everything will be accessible to you, and you can really look in it, into it deeper after this session, and I'm available for questions and comments and more conversation in the future as well. So feel free to be in touch. What we see is that what we'd like to do is we take a primary source. We didn't want to overload the kids with a lot of text or a lot of questions, but rather give them a sense, a taste of the kind of items that we hold in the library. These are all taken from our collections, and just take it as an opportunity to think about their identity, their community, the way they choose to celebrate their bar or bat mitzvah. And it's all in conversation with the parents, the educators, the community. So in this, for instance, in this chapter, because we're focusing on invitations and who you invite to your bar or bat mitzvah, so we take it as an opportunity to talk about what communities are you a part of? Where do you feel that you belong? Who invites the people to the bar or bat mitzvah? Is it the parents or is it the kids? And each chapter ends with this nice thing that, well done. And what they can do is easily navigate. And what you're looking at now is what the kids basically are looking at. It's one link for educators, for parents, and for kids. Once you have this link, you can navigate from here to the next chapter, or you can go back to the main menu and easily come back to any chapter you like. So for instance, when we thought of the idea of saving the date, we took it as an opportunity to explore the Jewish calendar. We focused on Shabbat. And if you remember in the Canva, there was a slide that says my Shabbat. So in this chapter, we indeed suggest to the kids, take a photo or draw something that represents your Shabbat experience and add it to your Canva. So it's a collection of items, of memories, and of creative activities that the kids do along the way. And again, as you can see, we've really incorporated different kinds of documents and items from the library. So as you can see, this is a snippet from a cartoon, and we have invitations. We have other kinds of documents as well. So here, as an example, we take Shabbat in the focus here of this chapter. And we want the kids to take a moment to think about what Shabbat is, what Shabbat means to them, how they celebrate it, etc. Now, I want to show you one of my favorite chapters, and I see that there are things in the chat, but because I'm sharing my screen, I can't actually read them. So feel free, Sarah, if you want to kind of interrupt, and if there are questions that I can answer as we go along, and if not, when I'll pause a little and we can hear some questions. So this is one of my favorite chapters. It's a chapter that deals with prayer in the Jewish culture and Jewish history. And we took it again as an opportunity to explore the idea of personal prayer and think about different ways today that people practice mindfulness and connect to their hopes for the future and think about their fears and their hopes. So here you have one of the best items that we have in the library. One of the most interesting and I think beautiful items is this draft of the song Lu Yehi, written by Naomi Shemer. What I want to just stress, again, we don't have time to see every single detail, but as you notice, each one of these primary sources that appear in our program is linked here. And if you click on this link, you can get to a page with the full information about this specific item. So in this case, for instance, we have the full translation of this poem. We have a full explanation who's Naomi Shemer and when she wrote this poem, etc. There's a tab there for the educators to think about what discussion questions they can raise around this poem. But again, what we tried to achieve here in this program is not to overload the kids with a ton of information. This is for you as educators to click on this, or if you want to expand on a certain chapter or on certain items, then you can. And this will open the link. Again, they're doing maintenance on the NLI website, so I don't know if this specifically will work right now. But if it doesn't, that's also okay, and we'll come back to it. But the idea is that, I don't know if you noticed, but in the Canva, there was a page, an empty page where the kids can write their own version of Lu Yehi, or Let It Be, and write their hopes and prayers. So this is one of the reasons I love this chapter. We chose this page from a Siddur from the Middle Ages in Italy, a woman's Siddur that was apparently common at the time, where the blessing, the bracha from the morning prayers is slightly different than what some of us may recognize from the traditional Siddur, where we know this bracha says, Baruch shelo asani isha. Here she says, Baruch she'asitani isha velo ish. So blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has made me a woman and not a man. And I think what we did, and you'll see that throughout the program, again, when you take a deeper look, you'll see that we have purposely addressed some questions that have to do with men and women, gender, and in general, changes that Judaism and the Jewish culture have gone through over the years. We try to be very sensitive, to be inclusive, but not to kind of offend anyone. And it's very, very challenging. So what we decided was that we would raise these topics, we would address them, and we would really let the educators think about where they can expand and what they would need to do in order to moderate this for their learners, for the kids in their community. We've been showing this to many educators around the world. Some feel that it might be a little bit risky for them, I would say, to present, for instance, a page like this. And I hope that you can find the balance between the needs of your learners and what you're comfortable with, and really showing them things from our culture and from our history. So again, we didn't shy away from these questions, and since we really believe that the educators who are on the ground know best how to deal and how to have a responsible conversation with their learners, we leave it to them, we leave it to you. So this is a nice example, I think, of something that can raise a lot of interesting questions. Here's a Tfilat HaDerech from another Siddur. And again, we're not going to go into all the details, but again, these are the activities that you can later see in the Canva, where the kids can write their own note to put in the kotel, or, and as you can see here, we took the bracha of She'asani Kiltzono, leading from the Siddur we saw before. And we show here a mural that a Jewish artist created to show that it's an expression of gay pride. And what do you think? Why do you think he chose those words? And design your own street art expressing a blessing or prayer that is close to your heart. So again, everyone can choose from within the program what is good for them and for their learners. That's what is also, that was something that was very important to us throughout the program, is to make it modular. It's true that this is numbered by order. We have some kind of narrative here and some kind of journey, but I really want to emphasize that this program doesn't build on, you don't have to do it in this order. You don't have to do all the chapters. You can really pick and choose. You can take just the chapter on tzedakah and tikkun olam, and that would be the only thing you would focus on. And again, each one of the sources here can be expanded because we have more and more information and more background for each and every one of these items. For instance, this is a bar mitzvah donation certificate from the JNF from the 1930s. And here we have the what we saw before in the Kahoot with Golda Meir, Let My People Go, and the connection between that and bar and bat mitzvah celebrations. So before I pause for maybe some questions, and there are also some other things I want to show you, I just want to show you one more piece of this program, which is what we hope to create, a gallery of sources that the children who do this program share with us. So this is what it looks like right now. we are inviting the kids to write their own chapter. We really, really want to stress throughout this program, not only the importance of documenting your journey, your celebration, whatever that may be, but also contributing back to the collections of the Jewish people that we hold in the National Library. We see ourselves as the Library of the Jewish people, and we want the kids to see themselves as part of that endeavor of collecting and documenting and preserving Jewish culture around the world for the future. So this is a form that kids would fill out, tell us a little bit about themselves, and then upload an item. Now, the item can be their bar mitzvah invitation. It could be a family photograph. It could be any document. It could be a certificate they got because they volunteered for their bar bat mitzvah year. It could be a poster they created. It could be an audio recording of them practicing, either if they're reading from the Torah or if they're giving a speech of some kind. They can record themselves and upload it. And they give this item a title, and they tell us what it is and why it's meaningful to them. And hopefully, as more and more kids around the world participate in this program, we'll be able to create a gallery of these items and kind of a mini collection or library from kids around the world who are participating in this. So again, I'm going to stop sharing for one moment just to see the questions, and before I give you a glimpse into a few other things that we have to offer.
Shuvi, actually, they were more comments from Adina, not questions, but I think this is a good moment just to stop and if people have questions or ideas about how they might want to share it in their day camp, in their overnight camp, in their family engagement, unmute yourself and share. Go on.
Manish Mashuvi. So, I mean, you might have mentioned it. I'm also with my kids today. So I just wanted to know if I would like to engage, what is it, like my bar mitzvah age kids, 11, 12, 13, and just about if you can just mention again the time frame and if there's any cost like to engage in this.
Okay, great question. So first of all, it's free. We're piloting this program now, even though all of the materials that we offer educators are free. Again, this is a program that took a lot more work than than just having a lesson plan or something small. But right now it's for free, and and we're piloting it. We're really, really interested in also hearing people's feedback. So you should know that we're just launching it now, and this is part of our first year implementing it. So that's also super helpful. If you guys are thinking of doing it, you can be in touch with me, and we can also have a conversation about how it's going and what the challenges are and what's working best. The duration of this kind of program could go anywhere from a one evening that you, for instance, are having a parents and kids gathering for the bar bat mitzvah year, and parents and children can choose a chapter they want to focus on, and sort of in a Beit Midrash kind of chavruta, delve into one of the chapters they choose, and maybe create a partial Canva that you would present later. You can also use this as almost a full, I would say at least a semester. For each one of the 12 chapters, you can probably devote up to even 2 hours for each one of these topics. So depending on what time frame people have, you can have, it could be a 12-week process. It could be every other week. You can do a month about Tikkun Olam and have other content, and then enhance it with this or frame it with this program if that suits you. Because again, we've suggested some kind of narrative that organizes this journey of becoming bar bat mitzvah by these milestones, like by these different themes. So you can always expand on one theme more than others. You can also have the kids do it in pairs if you wish. Again, it depends on the setting and the exact format you have. So really it could go anywhere from a one evening kind of activity that it's modular, so people can use it as they wish, or you can guide it, or it can really span through, I would say, a good few months of the year. So if you're thinking of next year and you want to plan a real series of meetings, of sessions for these kids as a group, and you have a facilitator who can do it, or a youth director, then I think you can easily make this into a really long program that when they really can, go deeper and learn more about each one of these topics.
Thank you. Be in touch.
Great. Yes, Shelley.
Yes, it sounds wonderful. I'm really excited about it. But I'm wondering, since this is just a pilot program, how have synagogues, or how do you think synagogues will react to this program? Because I know in my community, the rabbis are very sensitive when the JCC gets involved in life cycle type events. So do you have any thoughts on that and how we could present it to the community?
I'll tell you, the way I approach this project is that I see this as a very unique angle to thinking about this milestone. I don't think it has to really interfere with a process of, let's say, learning the Torah portion or writing the speech or other things that might be in the realm of the rabbi of the community. Because here, I think the emphasis is more on the cultural, historical background, not of the bar and bat mitzvah celebrations. This isn't a course about bar and bat mitzvah. It's not about, the history of when girls started celebrating their bat mitzvah or exactly all of those details. Again, that's something that you as educators can add that piece if you choose, but it really is just an opportunity to explore different themes and different aspects of Jewish identity and Jewish community. So the way I see it, I think you can work hand in hand with the rabbi of the community. This could be part of the process. It could enhance the process. It could maybe also be for the kids who aren't affiliated with the synagogue and are looking for exactly that, something that can be meaningful and reflective without that commitment of reading from the Torah necessarily. So there is a chapter about reading from the Torah, and we do explore that idea of the traditional rituals that are involved in becoming bar bat mitzvah, but we don't assume that all the kids are going to actually be doing that. So it's finding that balance.
I want to speak to that because we've talked a lot about that internally, and I understand the sensitivity for sure. First of all, the program is, we want it, it can be used at synagogues. I mean, this could be in a religious school. This can be used in day schools. This can be used, so this is not exclusive for JCCs or unaffiliated, but it is, so the first answer to the rabbis is, this is an amazing program. Please, join us or use it. You should talk to Shuvi. That's the first, question. The second is, and I think this is the reality, and the community and JCCs serve as a home base for many people who aren't joining synagogues, and we can't pretend that people are going to join if we don't do Jewish programming. It just doesn't work that way. And so the flip of that is, to one of your colleagues in the Jewish world, is, we want to meet people where they are and help enrich their cultural connections. And this is a way to do that. And in particular, I know I had this experience when I was at the DC JCC. There were a lot of families who were unaffiliated who came to the JCC as we were their Jewish guide and home base, and they would come to us wanting to do a bar bat mitzvah there. And even if they're renting the space, you can share this to help enrich their learning in whatever way they're deciding. You're not controlling how they're deciding they want to be Jewish. You're just providing opportunities to engage. That's your engagement, people. That's your job. So
thank you.
I'd like to add, I know, Alana, did you want to ask a question?
Yeah, how many, first of all, thank you so much. Really nice. How many chapters in this program? And the second question is, when can I start?
Great. So we built it in the way of, there are 12 chapters, and the 13th chapter is where they share their item, meaning after they've explored all these topics and elements of Jewish culture now, and they've seen all these beautiful primary sources that were preserved over the years from different communities, then that's their opportunity to, the 13th chapter, to share their own. So that was a kind of a way for us to incorporate both the 12 and the 13 as numbers. And you can start tomorrow. I mean, the program is available. What I want to show you in a second is I'm going to share my screen to show you a Padlet that I've created for this meeting, and I'm going to show it to you, and just so that you get a sense of other resources that we have. But also you'll have there the link to this program. And I also want to just mention that we also have this program in Hebrew. Now, I'm just saying this because it might be relevant for some of you who might decide to utilize maybe Hebrew teachers in the community, or maybe, I don't know, you have a group that might be able to learn some of this in Hebrew. So this entire program exists in Hebrew as well. So I just wanted to show you that. And here is the draft of Lu Yahi that was loading before, where I showed you where basically you get the full information about each and every item. So I really encourage you to do that. The Padlet. So I've created a Padlet for you because I know that these sessions are often very overwhelming. There's so many things that I would love to show you in this meeting, but we really are focusing on the Bar Bat Mitzvah program. So I just want to show you that we have a lot of other resources for you. And the link to the Bar Bat Mitzvah program is also in this Padlet. So you have it. And there's also a link. I'm just going to scroll down. And again, you're going to get this entire Padlet. So don't worry about not seeing everything right now. These are some of the resources that Adina was also referring to, the virtual reading room and some other things that we have for the public. These are some of the professional development opportunities we offer educators, that we've offered them in the past year or two. And here is, as part of what we call experience, is our Bar Mitzvah program, the journey. So if you click here, you'll get to what I was showing you, the home page with, you can navigate there with the Canva and everything. And here we have a form to sign up for a full guidance session. So basically you've seen a little taste of this, but if you think your colleagues or someone who's going to be in charge of the youth activity this year, if you want them to sign up for a one-on-one session or a small group session with me or with one of my colleagues from the library, we really go through the entire program in more detail. So that's for you, Alana, just that you know that the program here is available to you, and so is the opportunity to have another guidance session or be in touch with me. And as you see in the top of this Padlet, I've also written my email and other ways for you to contact me or my team. So I'm really inviting you to do so. Just as a kind of, I don't know, Sarah, if we're gonna have time to see some of the other things, because I see that it's already, we only have 5 more minutes, but I just want you to know that we're actually launching a new website soon for all of our English materials. And this is what it's gonna look like. And it's very easily searchable when it comes to different things that you can see and what we offer educators in general. Some are geared towards teachers in formal settings, but a lot are also geared towards informal educators or people who are looking to build programs. So again, I'm just giving you kind of a little taste, but I really, really encourage you to be in touch and for us to kind of, keep this conversation going. And if there's anything that you need from me, I'm really, really happy to offer more guidance and more help as we go along.
Ruby, can I put the Padlet address in the chat?
Yes. If you have the link,
and we will,
then sure.
Right. I just put it in the chat, and we will send this out also in the program brief together with the recording, because as I said at the beginning, some of our friends were not able to join us tonight, so and to be inspired, but I'm glad you're enthusiastic. When I first saw this program, I just wished I had the opportunity to use it on somebody, a Bar Bat Mitzvah child, and I'll find, because I think it's a lovely idea, together with some of the other programs at the library. And we'll share with you also at another date, there's a great escape room around the idea of Hana Senish, which would be a great program, I think, for the day camp or overnight camp for your teenagers as well. So any last questions before we wrap up? Stephanie, no.
Thank you. This is really Wow, wonderful. And I love the Padlet, how it's all together in one space. So the link is extremely helpful. So, and I'm sorry if I missed this in your explanation. I just want to be clear because I mentioned that I do PJ Library, but I also work with the Jewish teen educators in the community. So that's obviously more fitting. And I was wondering, I can share this link with them and tell them to get started any way that they choose. Is that right? I just want to make sure.
Yes, yes. All the resources you see here are for free and are available. And so
Okay.
really, I mean, there's so many things there. You'll see that there are activity pages we created for the Chagim that are printable and easily used with a younger audience. Like there are different kinds of resources. And honestly, I see you all as partners and as educators. Really, your feedback is so valuable because in the end, we can create so many beautiful programs, but we want them to meet your needs and to really be meaningful to your learners and to your communities. So I'm really waiting to hear from you and just, to be in touch.
Do you have any descriptive information that we can share with others or marketing materials?
We do. And again, when we launch the new website, it will all be in one place. We'll have the about page. You can find that information right now in the older education website, which is linked in a few places in the Padlet. So you can see that as well. And also in Adina has the NLI USA website where you can also get a lot of information. We'll add that to the Padlet as well so that you have it accessible.
Are you referring, Larry, to the libraries or specifically to the Bar and Bat Mitzvah program?
Specifically the Bar and Bat Mitzvah program, but
yes, we do have.
So I wanted to say that one of my jobs at NLI USA was to take the vast website of the library itself, which serves many, many people, and to think about the American audience. And so when I created the NLIUSA.org site, it has people like you in mind. There are two sections. It's a small website. It's very easy. And there's a section for partner organizations, and there's a section for educators. You can access on both those sites information that you're seeking, in particular on the education site for Shuvi's program and the marketing, descriptions and stuff. And just in general, the Speakers Bureau is on there, like all the things, Hebrew songs are on there, things that I thought that you might want and to easily access are there. So if you're getting
Adina. Yeah. Judy, I'm going to let you ask the last question and then we're going to have to wrap up.
No, I'm good. Adina answered that. Thank you.
Oh, perfect. So I want to be mindful of everyone's time. Thank you so much to Adina and to Shuvi for a really very inspiring and exciting presentation, and to remind us that libraries are still very valuable and have a lot to give as they adapt. Thank you all to you, whether you're sitting in snow or in Florida and it's not so snowy, but for taking the time off to be with us today. Chag Sameach, enjoy your Tu B'Shvat, enjoy your long weekend, Martin Luther King weekend. And as I said, we'll be sharing the Padlet again and the recording in the program brief. And please be in touch with Shuvi, Adina, or myself if we can be of any help in making these things happen.
Thank you. Thank you,
great
Sarah.
day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful.
Thank you.